section from Americana is, and I've readily pointed it out for you already. It's a bit of a section, but I think it encapsulates a little bit what we've already talked about, and then what I would like to move further into. And just to give a little bit of context, we are sort of happening with Ifemelo, the main character, and her partner Kurt, and they are reflecting on race, on his white family, on experiences as such, and of blackness in culture.
Okay, I should say that I haven't read this in years, and so
it might be fun.
When Musa gave me the homework backstage, I looked at it and I thought, my goodness, I wrote that. Anyway, so, and yet, once they visited his aunt Claire in Vermont, a woman who had an organic farm and walked around barefoot and talked about how connected to the earth it made her feel. Did Ifemelo have such an experience in Nigeria? She asked, and looked disappointed when Ifemelo said her mother would slap her if she ever stepped outside without shoes. Claire talked throughout the visit about her Kenyan safari, about Mandela's grace, about her adoration for Harry Belafonte, and Ifemelo worried that she would lapse into Ebonics or Swahili. As they left her rambling house, Ifemelo said, I bet she's an interesting woman if she would just be herself. I don't need her to overassure me that she likes black people. And Kurt said it was not about race. It was just that his aunt was hyper-aware of difference, any difference. She would have done the same exact thing if I had turned up with a blonde Russian, he said. Of course, his aunt would not have done the same thing with a blonde Russian. A blonde Russian was white, and his aunt would not feel the need to prove that she liked people who looked like the blonde Russian. But Ifemelo did not tell Kurt this because she wished it were obvious to him. When they walked into a restaurant with linen-covered tables and the host looked at them and asked Kurt, "Table for one?" Kurt hastily told her the host did not mean it like that. And she wanted to ask him, how else could the host have meant it? When the strawberry-haired owner of the bed and breakfast in Montreal refused to acknowledge her as they checked in, a steadfast refusal, smiling and looking only at Kurt, she wanted to tell Kurt how slighted she felt. Worse, because she was unsure whether the woman disliked black people or liked Kurt. But she did not, because he would tell her she was overreacting or tired or both. There were simply times that he saw and times that he was unable to see. She knew that she should tell him these thoughts, that not telling him cast a shadow over them both. Still, she chose silence, until the day they argued about her magazine. He had picked up a copy of Essence from the pile on her coffee table on a rare morning that they spent in her apartment, the air still thick with the aroma of the omelets she had made. "This magazine is kind of racially skewed," he said. "What? Come on, only black women featured?" "You're serious," she said. He looked puzzled. "Yeah. We're going to the bookstore." "What?" "I need to show you something. Don't ask." "Okay," he said, unsure what this new adventure was, but eager, with that childlike delight of his, to participate. She drove to the bookstore in the Inner Harbor, took down copies of the different women's magazines from the display shelf, and led the way to the cafe. "Do you want a latte?" he asked. "Yes, thanks." After they settled down on the chairs, paper cups in front of them, she said, "Let's start with the covers." She spread the magazines on the table, some on top of the others. "Look, all of them are white women. This one is supposed to be Hispanic. We know this because they wrote 2 Spanish words here. But she looks exactly like this white woman. No difference in her skin tone and hair and features. Now, I'm going to flip through page by page, and you tell me how many black women you see. Babe, come on, Kurt said, amused, leaning back, paper cup to his lips. Just humor me, she said. And so he counted. 3 black women, he said finally, or maybe 4. She could be black. So 3 black women in maybe 2,000 pages of women's magazines, and all of them are biracial or racially ambiguous, so they could also be Indian or Puerto Rican or something. Not one of them is dark. Not one of them looks like me. So I can't get clues for makeup from these magazines. Look, this article tells you to pinch your cheeks for color because all... Forgotten that point. I'd really forgotten that. This article tells you to pinch your cheeks for color because all their readers are supposed to have cheeks you can pinch for color. This tells you about different hair products for everyone, and everyone means blondes, brunettes, and redheads. I am none of those. And this tells you about the best conditioners for straight, wavy, and curly. No kinky. See what they mean by curly? My hair could never do that. This tells you about matching your eye color and eyeshadow, blue, green, and hazel eyes. But my eyes are black, so I can't know what shadow works for me. This says that this pink lipstick is universal, but they mean universal if you're white, because I would look like a gollywog if I tried that shade of pink. Oh, look, here's some progress. An advertisement for foundation. There are 7 different shades for white skin and 1 generic chocolate shade. But that is progress. Now, let's talk about what is racially skewed. Do you see why a magazine like Essence even exists?
Thank you.